And good evening and welcome to episode 25 of Endless Banter. I'm just double checking my screen to make sure it's muted because I don't want it to be running off again. Hope everybody's well. Paul,
Yeah.
how's your week been? What are you having for tea? What are you drinking? And you look really smiley today. You're happy today.
I've had fuck all for tea. I'm drinking a Diet Coke and I'm vaping on some Vampire Vape bloodsucker in my area.
Oh, that sounds fresh. Is that a new one?
I don't know, mate. They just sent me a sample of it last time I ordered we only normally stock about Heisenberg, Pinkman, Dawn, and Dusk, I think. And then he was like, "You need to try this one, mate. It's right up your street." It's like it's a bit like a cross. Dawn is similar to Red Astaire. And obviously Heisenberg's Heisenberg. To me, it's like 50-50 of each of them. It's that type. It's nice, but it's quite strawberry. It's nice, fruity, fresh.
What, like a strawberry sort of blueberry?
It's just got, like it says, fresh red fruits and red berries. So it's not as harsh as Red Astaire, but it's just fruitier, but with that same sort of Heisenberg back end of bit of eucalyptus, bit of aniseed.
That was nice.
So it's actually really nice. It's a nice vape for me anyway, just for the sort of things that I use. So.
I was just going to say, evening to everybody in chat, evening to the regulars, evening to new faces. It's good to see you all. We are waiting on the guest to join us, hopefully in the next 5 minutes. But Paul, while we're waiting for the guest, let's have a discovery update. What's going on? We've not had an update in 2 weeks. What the fuck is going on?
They phoned me on, when did we have the show? They must have phoned me on Friday last week. And he said, "I've had your email saying that you're not happy with our offer. So what do you expect?" So basically says, "I want a new car, existing finance. I want a replacement car, as good as a new car, existing finance, or I want £10,000 back and I'll continue to drive my own car."
So we're just waiting for them to come back again.
Just waiting for them to see what the package I can put together this time.
If you sort yourself out, fucking hell, Land Rover, or we'll be parking the fucking vehicle outside with 2 middle fingers up like that in the fucking front window. Sort you shit out.
I'll stick my car up and I'll put a sandwich board on the roof, mate.
So while we're waiting on our guest, we'll start off the subject because it is sort of the subject that has been fresh to me. I said in a live feed, it wasn't last week I said in a live feed, I said it on just a regular Facebook live feed about you bribing me with a full breakfast. With a full English breakfast. Yeah, I got a text message the other night. When was it, Paul? Was it Friday last week?
It was probably...
No, Wednesday or Thursday.
No, I think it was probably midnight Thursday night.
Thursday night. This was last week. I got a message basically saying, "Tom, we're doing Manchester. I've got a brew and full breakfast waiting for you. Let's go." No, basically we got a message. We was in talks about doing Manchester, and obviously there's been quite a little bit of hype going around about it and everything like that. It's now only got 3 booths left before it's sold out. Yeah. I've been looking at it today. So, yes, we are waiting on the gentleman that is running the show. So if Emil turns up, he turns up. If not, we'll carry on. Me and Paul will carry on. What's your thoughts about the show then? Because this is going to be basically like this is northern than Doncaster or Shrewsbury. This is like the first proper northern show.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on how this show's being put out there, and what's your expectation? Let's just go over sort of, what made you finally pull the trigger to say, let's do it. I'm quite excited about this show.
You know what? I was quite excited about it anyway. For me, expos are different to Vape Fest, mate. They're not cheap for us to go to, so we have to be sure that we're going to do some retail, and we've got to be sure we're going to try and secure some wholesale order thereafter. My concern with the show still is that it's the last day of August. The kids go back to school the following week. People have been on 6 weeks holidays. People are on their arse broke. Who's going there to actually spend some money? And then the other thing is because of the skateboarding and the tattooing and the lifestyle side of it, which for me all sort of makes sense with the industry. But how many genuine people will be going to this show to tout for new wholesale?
Mm.
So, but in the, I mean, I had a good chat with Emil at Vape Fest, and I just decided that we'd support it and see where we go with it. I know he has messaged in chat on Facebook as well, just saying he's opened Hangouts, blank page, go to invites, but nothing there. I don't know if you can help him with anything there. I get that, to be honest. I have a fucking nightmare, mate, when I'm going through on my phone. Yeah, but I mean, I just think it's good that someone's done one up north. And to be honest, I had a meeting with Jay Cox earlier, who owns Vapor Expo, and just sorting out our stand and whatever for October. And I mean, he said to me, I really hope it's a success for him. And I just think it's good there's something up north. It means the people that are further north than that can come down. There's a decent vaping community north of the country, so it should be a good weekend. It should be a good weekend. And to be fair, Emil and his team have been busting their ass, pushing this out there as a thing. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing live feeds. They've been going on other people's live feeds. They've been doing their own live feeds. They're coming on here tonight if they can sort the hangouts out. We'll be going on some live feeds with them over the next 2 weeks. We've got a code for some tickets so people can go and download free tickets to come to the show. And I mean, at the end of the day, for me, the amount of free tickets that are being given out for this show is a good thing for a brand new event.
Definitely.
It's important to get people through the doors, and that in itself will create more hype. And on that basis, I think from my point of view, mate, they seem to have managed the actual approach to starting a whole new thing pretty well.
Definitely, I think we've mentioned it previously when we've talked about sort of like collective and stuff like that, and we've said that free tickets is even sort of for the first event does actually add to the hype and stuff. People are like, the lucky people that get the tickets. There's you still, if you wanted to go, you have want a free ticket. It's not a free event; you have to pay to go. But it sort of adds that niceness that people are getting involved once again in the community, and everyone's having a bit of fun to try win these tickets. And to me personally, that does really add to it, and which is really fun. Me personally, I do like the whole concept of the event, and I can totally 100% agree with you. The fact is, who's actually going there for the vaping side of things? A lot of people don't realize, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but on the actual floor plan on the website, it's actually 2 floors.
Yeah.
It's not 1 floor, so people haven't realized that it's just one big floor plan. It's not. It's actually a bottom floor and a top floor, which is pretty cool. So there's like an entrance bit where you've got sort of the vendors, then you've got like a main hall at the top. So it seems that obviously you've got a little bit more widespread, so it's not all like crammed into one place. Everyone's sort of got the free run of going, to the bottom vendors or going to the top and then chilling in the top or going down. To me, that layout's very cool. It's something different. It's not been done before. I would love to see how that's going to work out, sort of having people up and down stairs or up and down lifts or whatever and stuff like that. The safety aspect as well, sort of how many people are going to turn up. This event, and just there's different things there, and there's I've seen there's even a beard oil company going. I've seen some cool stuff like that. There's different things going to this event, so it's not all necessarily vaping. But to me, does that personally mean that there's going to be people that are maybe interested in tattoos, and people who are going to be personally interested in the skateboarding scene that will see the vaping side and go like, do you know what? While we're here or whatever, we're going to go see that. The main attraction is the vaping, but it may attract the other things, may bring other people in that wouldn't necessarily go to it because it's just predominantly vaping.
I mean, I'm genuinely excited to see how it pans out. I am, and I think if it does even mediocre, it will be set for a good show next year.
It's very different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I like the concept of it. Just concerns me about how well it will do from our point of view for the reasons that we normally do an expo. And the same, as much as the retail side of it there, again, I have Hangouts, but how do I get into the video because the link just keeps sending me to Google Play to install the app. It does that to me every time as well, Tom. If someone sends me a link for Hangouts and I go to it on my phone, it sends me straight to the Play Store. And I don't know why, even though I've got Hangouts downloaded on my phone. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it pans out, and we've not gone. We've got a 6x3 booth, which is the smallest booth we've had for the last fucking 3 or 4 expos, but it's big enough to do what we need to do, and it's we're sort of going now on a budget, really. Obviously, I've got to pay hotels and hire vans and travel for bloody Birmingham, which is a pain in the arse. But that says maybe we're just lucky that we've got the big one right on our doorstep. And I do next year. I do want to look at doing things further afield as well, and going to other countries maybe. And so it's for me, it's just a tester as well. How do we cope outside of Birmingham doing an expo? What size van do we need? How do we get all our wares in there? So if we decide to fuck off to Spain or Germany or whatever, how do we do that?
Definitely something going for the future. I do think the show itself is very much future.
Yeah, I'll say I just like the whole concept of it, and I like the fact it's not just vaping, so there'll be new faces there as well, and there's going to be people that go to this expo that have never been to Birmingham one just from the fact it's 2 hours further north.
Yeah.
Is he still having him there getting in?
Invite. So I'll look at some of the comments. It's not next weekend, it's the weekend after for anybody that wants to know. Next week. It's London next weekend, isn't it?
I'm not sure. What's in London next weekend?
Vape Finder.
Oh yeah.
Vape Finder next weekend, and then the weekend after that is Manchester. This show is going to be pretty sweet. Never been anything like it, and I'm so happy we've got Ellis on board. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that, buddy. Let's have a look. People are saying they want shows further down south, but you've got London, 2 expos in London. You've got Jam, and you've got Vape Finder. Then you've got Birmingham, which is obviously the middle of the country, and now you've got Manchester. I think we've pretty much got the country covered now.
You know what I mean? Obviously, America have these expos on weekly, but the fucking country is so bastard vast. They could have 3 on the same day and still pull thousands of people through the doors.
That sort of killed expos though in America. Yeah, that massively killed the expos over because they were having them every weekend. You know, we're quite, even though we are a small country, we're quite in the luxury that the expos are quite far apart. You know, so we're not having one every week. I think, to me personally, if this country had one on every week or every other month, me personally, I think people would get sick of them. I think we're in that very much that luxury of having them quite separated. You know what? Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, mate? The UK is quite a small fucking island, and there's an expo in Ireland. I don't know whether there's been one at the Glasgow Centre. Has there ever been one in Scotland?
I don't think so.
But like you say, there's Fest in the middle. There's a couple in London. There's a couple in Birmingham throughout the year. There's going to be at least one in Manchester, I would imagine, from here on in. I just think that if people want to come, they need to travel. I mean, to sort of put one in Scotland, I know people do not appreciate how expensive it is to hire. Like the NEC is hundreds of thousands of pounds to hire out for that weekend, hundreds of thousands of pounds. So it costs us a lot of money to be there, but the people who rent it out spend a huge amount of money renting it out. They spend a huge amount of money on insurance, a huge amount of money on I mean, obviously we go in there, Tom, and it's a fucking absolute mess. And by the next morning, everything's perfect. And I know people walking through them doors at the start don't appreciate what goes into putting one of these things together.
No.
It's huge. It's on a completely another level. And to be fair, Jay and Lee at the Vape Expo have got staff working full time around the clock through like 12 months of the year, managing the expo coming up, the one that's just gone, and then they're into the new expo. Then they're managing the new expo and the one that's just gone, and it's a continual job for them now. They employ 5 or 6 people just managing two expos a year. So on that basis, I think there's people that look at these and go, oh yeah, we can do one of them. We're going to put one on down south. But you know what? You've got to have a fair bit of clout to be able to even pull some of the names to these events. And without the names, as Collective showed, you just don't get the people through the door. And without the people through the door, you will never get no vendors going. And without the vendors going, you won't get no people through the door. And that vicious cycle is fucking difficult to break. And Expo have cracked it. They've got it right. I'm hoping that Emil and this show works, because actually it's good for the industry and good for the UK if there's another good quality expo in a different part of the country.
Yeah, definitely. I agree 100% with that. I just, I'm very happy that, to me personally, I think Expo's amazing and always be amazing. I'm just really excited to see the difference in this show. You know, what versatility there's going to be with sort of adding the lifestyle aspect to it, because it is something new. You know, we all have got that expectation of every man who vapes is bearded and tattooed. Emil, hopefully, he's in the garden. He's here.
Everyone, I'm here in the end.
Fucking hell, that was hard work, wasn't it?
More than hard work.
He's got 7 minutes and then he's got to fuck off.
So I tried my best, guys. I had to come out because of the little ones in the house screaming, but
no worries. We'll get to it. We'll ask you I've got a few questions for you. We'll go over sort of, you know, your expectations for the event, when you sort of thought about the event and doing it, and what was your choice? I'm going to go for the first one. What was the reason you decided to do it as like a lifestyle event?
Oh, it's just I liked wanted a bit more fun involved, little bit more difference. But the main reason was I saw groups of people, like friends and stuff, and there might have been like 2 of them might have gone to a normal vape do. The other one might have still been vaping, but kind of not into it that much. And the other 2 were like smokers. I thought, how are we going to get somebody to be able to bring all their mates all to one place and to basically gently kind of like guide them towards vaping rather than smoking? And I just thought, right, what do vapors like? What do people in the industry like? Kind of stereotypical a little bit, but we just tried to bring as many kind of things that we thought could be attractive for vapors, but at the same time so they could still bring their mates. And hopefully we can make some people quit smoking, do you know what I mean, and actually start vaping. And what's the best way to do it rather than at a big show when they're having like fun and games, having a laugh, they've been able to go around with their friends and gradually just being edged towards vaping rather than being on the smokes.
I do like that. So what's your expectations for the show? Honestly, what is your expectations?
Well, I've just seen it grow and grow and grow for months now. The last few stages, I've just seen it like everyone I've spoken to have been like, yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. Everyone I've told about it, even people that I know that can't make it, just can't. They just love the overall idea. And I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head.
Have we lost him already? I hope we haven't lost him.
Everyone's loving it.
We thought we'd lost him. We thought we'd lost him. You're back.
Yeah, did I cut out then for a second? Where did I get to?
Yeah.
I can't remember where did I leave off then?
Just basically saying about sort of you're very excited and it's been moving very forward quite quickly and sort of the last thing.
Person I spoke to just loved the concept around it. Like each of the attractions, like it might not be for everyone, each of the attractions, but it's not like the main thing. It's still like 75-80% vaping, and we didn't want it to be another juice fest. Was another big thing in my head. I looked at all the other shows, and they gradually got more and more juice to them. And listening to people when I'm at shows and after the shows, people don't want to just go to another juice fest and try 1,000 different juices. So we just try to mix it up a bit, make sure we've got all the different factors involved with vaping. We'll try to get it all. There's probably a fair few we haven't got there, but we've tried to get as much as we possibly can under one roof to do with vaping, all the different variants, making sure like guys like yourself. I'm so glad you guys could join us because you're doing it as I love the cloud comp side of it as well, and like that kind of been like forgotten about to a certain extent over the last years. And I just wanted to restart. When I started and I went to the shows, it was like a big impact. It was like the wow factor was then gradually as the years have gone by, they've kind of got bigger, but it's hard to explain like how I felt on it, but it weren't exactly how I would want it. There's a few little bits. I thought, how could we tweak it and just make it a better overall experience for everyone?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's difficult for you, Emil, to sit there and then start trying to say, if you come and say, oh, I want to do this because this one's crap, I know it puts you in a potentially negative light of people thinking that you're slagging off the Vapor Expo. I'm good pals with Jay, and I had a meeting with Jay this morning actually about our stand in the October Expo, and he said to me, I hope that you smash it because it's good for the industry, it's good for the UK market if your show's successful. But I mean, I know, Jack, obviously, when you've got the vastness of the NEC and it's a big old fucking unit to fill out, the reality is that because most of the hardware is coming from overseas, it is so much easier to fill a hall up with juice companies.
Yeah, it is true. It is true.
I know they're really conscious of it, but the bottom line is as well, and you'll know this, it's to rent out the size of space that they rent out off the NEC for them 5 days or whatever it is a huge amount of money. So people potentially thrust money at you to have a stand there. You have to take so much of it just to make sure you've wiped your face, and then obviously there's a point where you could be a little bit more selective. I said to Tom before you come on live that I think the way that you guys have gone about promoting, it certainly made me change my mind about vending or not vending, because at the start I was like, this is a bit fucking gimmicky, this is, and actually for me, after I spoke to you at Vape Fest, and I didn't know you from Adam, I'm not going to lie, I didn't know you from Adam. We had a really good chat at Vape Fest, and actually when I got back on that Sunday, I said to my missus, you know what, I think we should support this guy and do Manchester, and obviously the more people that support you, hopefully the more people we get through the door. The more people that gets through the door means that we're on for a good show next year. And I said to Tom, the fact that you're giving away so many tickets for me is a positive thing, because there'll be some people who do this and go, oh, we need to smash it year one and we need to make loads of dough and whatever else. For me personally, you've got to build something. You've got to prove yourself. You've got to prove that the show's good. You've got to prove that you can attract the big vendors, not only in the UK, but also from overseas. And so, I mean,
respecting it, yeah, that's it.
The way that you've gone about it for me is fantastic. And I think, and it's certain, like I said, I had lots of conversation with Chris a few months ago and pretty much decided it's not for me. Actually, after speaking, and it's no disrespect to Chris, I was just a bit like, fucking skateboards and tattooing and whatever. From a genuine business point of view, I am concerned. It's the last week of August. There's people that have had 6 weeks holidays with kids. They're buying school uniforms. Who the fuck's going to go to Manchester to park with Sunday? And then because of the gimmicky lifestyle side of it, I worry how many genuine vendors will go there just as vendors looking for potential new wholesale business. Now, obviously, I've spoke to you in the week. We've got our stand on. We're not going there all out. We're going on a 6x3. We're having a fairly basic stand. So I'm not spending thousands of pounds to be there, but I just felt that I should be there. And I do think it's important that the vendors support you. And I think you're doing a good job of supporting the customers by putting out so many free tickets and all the live feeds that you do. All them things for me, it's all positive stuff, man. It's got to be good. And I'm hoping that I said to Tom, if this is a mediocre show, not even a fantastic show. If it's mediocre, it sets the good standard for next year.
That's it. Definitely. One of the big things we've done for the vendors, because I got semi-pissed off with all the other shows as well, just being forgetful in myself. I'd end up with so many business cards at all the shows. I'd come back from the show, I might have met with one person, spent some time with him, got some products of him, great. But then I get back to the shop and I think, I needed that other product actually a week or so later. And I'm going through all the business cards, trying to remember who I've spoke to. And I end up buying it from someone different. So we had a guy that worked for Google Maps, and he basically designed a program. So his panoramic cameras all around the show. So basically the end user, being like an actual end user, or like a shop or whatever, can walk around all the show, all in HD. They can actually go onto the map and zoom into someone if they can remember it. But if they can't, they can actually walk around the show, remembering that stand, remember that stand. I think it's round that corner. When they look at the stand that they're looking for, and they see like the people's faces that they remember speaking to, icons appear. So they can click onto an icon, it takes you to contact information or direct to the website. Then rather than it being a 3-day show, it turns into a year's worth of a show for the vendors as well, and for the end user, because even if you remembered something at a show and you really liked a juice, you couldn't remember the name of it, you're able to go back into the shop, not juice, but mods or anything. I've just got juice on the head, but yeah, whatever it is, like you can literally land there and just see exactly who you spoke to. Once you see the visual of the people and the stands and everything, the stand that's next to it, everything comes back. So being an end user or a vendor or whatever, I thought that kind of hit the nail on the head with that as well. So I was really, really happy when I saw that.
That was something you spoke to me about at Fest, which I think's very, very clever. And say for me, it's just that little thought process about doing something different. And there's definitely room in the UK for that event in Manchester. I still believe there's room to do one in Scotland, if I'm being honest. There's enough of a vaping community in Scotland to not only pull the people local to that event, but then also you've got people, say, from Manchester upwards that would travel. You know what I mean?
We tried to do a northern show. Being our first show and funds and everything, I know the owners of the actual exhibition, so we've done a deal with ourselves to be able to do the show overall. So that's kind of helped us out to get the ball rolling. But I thought, like, from what I've heard anyway, a lot of vaping in this country did start up in the north. And then I was thinking, well, it hasn't even been a northern show. You've had one in the Midlands, you've had one down in the south. Obviously, got a few of the little ones. You've got like Vape Fest in Shrewsbury. But like a big expo for the whole weekend, you needed something up in the north. There's a lot of people up there that only get like they only get to look at a certain few things unless they're willing to travel like God knows how far. So I thought it was an opening there for that as well, and the people needed to be able to experience what we've been able to see like down there if they can't travel as well.
Okay, just one question from me. Did you have any concern about offering ICOS a stand on at the expo?
Yeah, definitely. The problem was with that, the way I looked at it, I thought, it come back to this, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer kind of thing in my head. Because when I first met him in Birmingham, and asked him a few questions, and I was like, right, this is how we're doing it. We're going to sell these products for this amount of money in our shops, but all other vape shops, we'll get to sell for that price, like a lot less. But you have to sign up and you have to give us the customer's details. And I was like, well, this isn't quite right. And I said, yeah, it's on a contract that you want. I said, a written contract, but now it's more of a handshake contract. So what we've got a Q&A section at the show. And I want to be able to actually ask them as many questions as they can, because obviously they're coming from a tobacco company which has got that much power. So no matter how much we try, their presence is going to be there. So for them to grow, why not get them there on the spot and ask them a few questions? They shouldn't have anything to hide, because obviously anyone at the show should be able to ask them these questions anyway. So rather than like just saying, no, don't go there, the other shows have had them at them. It was one of them. It was a hard decision. It really was. But I thought put them in the show, have a few questions to ask them, and make sure we get to the bottom of it. And we'll have it on a live feed to be able to be spread after the show. So depending on how they answer it, they're going to do themselves justice or they're not. So if they do themselves justice, none of us will have any kind of quibbles to a certain extent, depending on how much justice they're doing. But if they don't, they're spreading themselves into the other side of things. That was kind of like my thought pattern on it.
That was all. Just because I mean I've seen some comments saying, "Fuck that, I'm not going." And I've seen ICOS have got one of the biggest stands there, man. I'm not about that. Fuck them. I'm not there. And I had exactly the same conversation with Jay, not this time, but last time, and just said to him, "Why the fucking hell would you have a company that isn't vape related. I get the beard oil and I get the skateboard and I get the tattooing. For me, and I don't even think that IQOS is a bad thing. I just don't think it's anything at all to do with vaping. So
It's kind of, I put it in between. It's like with like a mouth to lung setup or sub-ohm setup. Everyone puts them into two categories. I always look at it as like a third in between, one that's not quite mouth to lung but not quite sub-ohm. And I think they're kind of in that category, not quite smoking but not quite vaping. They've kind of slotted themselves in the middle somehow. I had a go on one of the devices, and it's obviously, it seems like it is like smoking to a certain extent, but then you ask them all the questions, they're like, no, because of the combustion temperatures, it's not quite hitting this, and you literally putting like a small stub in the end of it. Yeah, but
used an IQOS. I tried one just to see what they were about, and for me personally, as someone that smoked heavy, I didn't like the IQOS because it tasted like a relit fag. Do you know what I mean? I didn't actually
in the ashtray all night and you pick it up in the morning.
Then agree that there's a place for IQOS somewhere. I personally don't think it fits in with vape. I mean, I'd never stock it in my shop.
No. But at the same time, I think the power, the money that they've put into it as well, saying it is a vaping product, why not try and educate people afterwards, just if depending on their answers, whether or not it is or it isn't, because they're going to be putting out more advertising than pretty much all of us. They've got the money to do what they pretty much want. So rather than just trying to like keep them away, and I still think it's the same. I don't want to really go into this, but I think it's the same reason why there hasn't been a Northern show to a certain extent. You know what I mean? I understand the overall of it. I don't really want to go too much into depths on that, but I think the reason why they haven't gone to a Northern show is because rather than facing something that's a problem, they've kind of tried to tuck it away. It's like having a dirty room and shoving everything under the bed and saying it's clean, but really there's nothing there. It's not clean. So I just want to be able to face them and be able to like be transparent with them.
I would not go there personally because IQOS are there. I've seen people saying I had the Blue rep in my shop, man. Fuck Blue, they're part of Big Tobacco. My opinion of Blue is that they are developing and they are investing heavily into the vaping industry. On that basis, I haven't got an issue with Blue. The only reason why I don't stock Blue in my shop is their fucking resale margins are shit. They're giving people a £500 pack to get you going, and then the margin on the next lot of hardware you buy off them is not particularly good. So for me, it didn't work. I know that IQOS are offering people money to have screens in their shops. The margin on it's fantastic. They're giving employees incentive bonuses to sell all the product, and it just don't sit right with me in my shop. I might as well literally be selling vaping stuff, bongs, fucking
it's not a vape shop.
Tobacco, some fags, and just sell the fucking lot, and then stick newspapers, tins of beans, loaves of bread, and just go for a retail. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's just how I feel about it personally. But that says I do think they've got a place somewhere. I just don't. For me personally, it's not in the vaping. But no, I mean, it would never deter me from going. It's just I know there's a massive stigma within the vaping. Certainly the thing is. And I said this on one of our shows a few weeks ago, maybe that I'm blessed enough that our business is doing well enough that I don't need to have £800 a month off IQOS to have one of their screens in my shop window. There's other companies that are relying on that £800 to cover the rent and start building the business. So on that, I get why people have took it on board. I would rather, I mean, if I got to the point tomorrow where my business relied on an IQOS screen in the window, I'd sooner shut my shop. I'm not even. That's just me personally. We've had 6 fantastic years. I'll walk away with my head held high. I don't get why. I know there's people out there that don't see. And even I spent 2 hours talking to the rep from Blue in the shop, and I just happened to be there one day. I'm very rarely in any of our shops, but I was at one of the shops one day and he come in, and actually. You just know that they're used to they're blind you with science, and they chuck this hardware at you, and they give
back in a minute.
I could have had 1,200 quid's worth of stuff for my 2 stores free, and I was just a bit like, what is your margin once I've hooked one of my customers into your hardware? What's my margin on it? And it's like, I don't know, 26% or something like that. I can't operate on a 26% margin. I just can't. And not only that, I will end up converting some of my customers to a Blue user who can then go into Argos or Asda or Morrison's and see the blue logo, shop. So that's also a concern. I get the mainstream of it. I get that like, all these people that were saying Dinner Lady are a bunch of wankers, man, they've sold out. I'm a bit like fucking fair play to Dinner Lady. Actually, they've just done a deal that most people are jealous of. And the jealous people are saying, bunch of wankers, man, as if they're selling their product in Asda. Mate, I'd put Endless in Asda tomorrow if I thought someone in there could sell fucking mech mod safely. So I'm not against the whole industry going mainstream, and I get that that's the way it's going. Blue didn't work for me for various reasons, all costs I'd never put in the store. All that says, I'm really, really excited about doing the Manchester show, to be honest. It's there seems to be a lot of hype there, which means you've done your work, which is fantastic. I say we've got some more. We'll join you on some live feeds, I'm sure, over the next week or so. We'll be giving away tickets as well, and just trying to get as many people through as we can. So there's going to be lots of people that have not travelled down to Birmingham or London. So this will be their first show. And the more people we can get involved in that, the better, I think, because it just bodes well for you for next year to sell your stands out by the end of fucking September and ready for next year and know what you're doing. And it's good stuff, man. It's good. And it's good that someone's actually put the money where their mouth is and said, you know what, I'm going to try this and see if I can get it to work. So, I mean,
I'm holding the phone so close as well. That bloody WhatsApp call's come through. It's knocked off my sound, so I can't hear it. I'm bloody deaf as it is. Now I fully understand what you're saying with everything, even with Blue and everything. That it's just such a like they're gonna have that presence. This is the problem, but it's I think you need to have them understanding it so that if the words we're all on like different groups, we spread stuff, we let people know, we want to educate people, making sure like if they're buying a mech, you're not giving it to someone that's just come off the smoke, so doesn't know nothing about battery safety or building. So we want to educate people. It's obvious, like, but with the Blue and with the ICOS, Blue has gone into vaping. Then being a tobacco company, I think in the future the tobacco companies are going to be buying out a lot of vape companies. And like, yeah, Asda's and all this. Asda's, like you said, they're never going to be able to give the passion. They're never going to be able to educate people fully. They're not going to have the wider spectrum of different variants of vaping devices like decent shops in the vape industry do. So I don't think they'll ever go down there. I just think there'll be a takeaway, an easy convenience type thing. If people they don't want to go into a shop, if they're already used to it and they see their juice that they've already bought, that they're happy with, they probably will go there. But in the future, are you really going to be able to stop that? That's just the way I look at it.
Absolutely, definitely not. Say for me, I think fair play to Dinner Lady. And I see people saying, oh, fuck, you know, man. They've got where they've got because of the money they've spent on marketing. They've got where they got because when they dropped Lemon Tart, it was fucking unrivaled.
Yeah, Lemon Tart was the one Dinner Lady, isn't it?
I mean, I get it's sort of a one-hit wonder, but it was a one-hit wonder that they've grasped with both hands and absolutely turned it into a multi-million-pound company. And for me, it's fantastic to see that.
I've got no quibbles with them. Like obviously, like people moan that they're going into Asda and they're against the vape industry. I think the more people that are aware of vaping, more overall, the only thing is to get people off the smokes. One of the biggest flipping things that I thought of when I started was like cigarette butts account for like near enough half of the world's waste that they can't get rid of. Like just in that in itself, not to try and help like humans' health, it's like the world's health in itself. Combustion, like when you're smoking, there's a lot. I smoked all my life, like, and I'm just so glad that I got into vaping and I started to educate and learn like all these different bits to go to like have an overall understanding, like globally, of what's going on within the industry. And it's just, I can see we're on the right page and all of us are going in the right way, but then because of there's so many different like kind of ideas and opinions on how to do things, obviously there's a lot of other problems if you're a vendor that can happen, like, but I just think that, especially with this show, I think we're going to open up, get people off the smokes as well. It won't just be vapors, even though it will be predominantly vaping, but we'll be able to like educate people after the show without going like this is it like a dictator. You could just show people like that's it. Look, there's the guy asking the question, there's somebody answering it, and it's just I think it's the only way we're ever going to be able to do it. And I thought, well, when they come up and there was like asking for a stand, I was like, I understood because I still kind of feel like everyone else does. It's not vaping fully, But is it that in between bit? If it's not fully combustion and like people, has it got that little edge? I don't know. And if they're trying to rip off all the vaping companies, don't we need to like try and find out now and all stand together and spread it out there? So actually, the actual vapors that are educating the smokers, not just shops, but just everyone, do they need to be like? Do they need to know exactly? Because I think it's still like a grey area kind of thing. If you're really into it and you're really passionate and you're a hobbyist and you're in that certain group, you're probably following all that kind of ways of thinking. But if you just like another guy that just might just pop onto like a stream or onto, I don't know, YouTube or anything, like they might just have a different opinion. But if it's there, it's fully like transparent. Everyone can make their own minds up just through the information being there.
So I think Tom said earlier you've only got 3 stands left before sellout on the show.
We've got 2 left now, yeah.
Yeah, so that's fantastic, man. It's good. So have you got another live feed to do as well, Emil? Now?
Oh, I'm going to be running late for that. It's supposed to be at 8:30, but yeah.
Right, well, I'll ask you one final question. I'll ask you one final question before you leave then. One final question. If anybody who's not going to the show but wants a little bit more information, sell the show to them and let them know what the show's going to be.
It's going to be a choice of relaxing or chilling or full of fun like adrenaline or somewhere in the middle. You can pretty much bounce between each of those kind of aspects, which obviously you've got loads of variants in between each of them. There'll be something there for everybody, food wise. Like if you like this or that, there'll be something there to offer you for everybody. If you want to be if you want to be outside, you've got outside to be able to see a bit of drifting or like the fun fair. If you want to be inside and chill, you could be on like an arcade machine, just chilling out on there. Giveaways and stuff. It won't just be like people chucking stuff. It might be a little bit of that. We want a bit more interaction with the actual people as well. With the cloud comps, it's not just one type of cloud comp for professionals. You'll get professionals, semi-professionals, and like an outlaw one where anything goes. So it's just being able to make anyone be involved. So you don't have to be like an expert at this or an expert at that. You can just go there. Just want people to like let their hair down, just relax and smile and just go with the flow. And I'm sure like all the attractions that we put on there, it's just taken like a little bit of thought, a lot of legwork, definitely. I think everyone's going to be pleased. The after parties after, you got the skating and the BMXing again. Like, it's just like a little bit of a show. So if you've gone round, you tried a few juices, you tried a few mods, you looked at this, you looked at that, you think, I might have a bite to eat on the way back through. One of your mates goes, I want to try that. Oh, geez, let's have a watch of this. There's still a group of people, and I just think there hasn't been nothing like it yet. And I'm just fingers crossed the way I think it's going to pull off, and it's going to start ripples across the water kind of thing. I'm sure other expos around the world are going to start doing the same thing, because I think people want to be entertained and people want to be happy and people want to be healthy, and we've got all of that under one roof.
Love it. Well, we'll let you get off for your next feed. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Do appreciate it, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
I'll be in touch.
Guys, thanks for asking us to come, and definitely.
You're welcome. I'll be in touch with you in the next day or so to arrange for me and Tom to do some live feeds with you through your pages and whatever as well. So,
yeah, definitely. Guys, have a good night as well, and thanks for having us again. Any questions, or check out UK Vapors Lifestyle Expo page. We'll be able to give you guys some tickets if you've already got Endless as a code.
Yeah.
On each of the live streams, been doing 25 free tickets, but I'm sure I'll be able to hook you guys up with some as well.
Yeah.
Wicked. Thank you so much, Emil.
Take it easy. See you later.
Thank you. Sweet. Sounds like we're going to be, if anybody wants to see Paul, it sounds like he's going to be outside with the drift cars.
I'll see if I can get the footy.
Paul is going to be outside, stood in the middle of the drift cars and going to be drifting around him.
I'll see if I can get the Land Rover on there to do some drifting in my
Do you know, listening to him and listening to his passion about it, because he does seem, to me personally, obviously, we know a lot of guys that run the other shows and stuff like that, and just him speaking there does seem like he's very passionate about this, and you know, the stuff that he's got going on and trying to keep it very entertaining and different things going on for actually consumers. Sounds very exciting.
To be honest, mate, I had about half an hour, 45-minute chat with him at the fest, and that 45-minute chat was enough to make me decide that we should support him. and his passion about what he's doing is fantastic. And I say the way he's gone about promoting this event is fantastic, and it's got some people are talking about it, which can only be a good thing. So I'm excited for it. It should be a good show.
I was saying about the fairground and drifting outside and, you know, arcade games inside. Just to me personally, it's going to be like a sort like it reminds me a little bit like this is like Fest, but indoors and outdoors.
Yeah.
You know, the very not a massively chilled vibe, but there's something for everybody. And I think this show, for me, very much personally, I think will attract people that have thought about vaping, but wanting to go. People who, to me, this is going to bring more people who are going to go, I'm off to this show, it's about vaping, but it's got this, it's got that, it's got the other. I know you've been thinking about vaping and I know you smoke. Do you want to come along?
Yeah.
It's very much sort of a bit of a neutral person to come in as well, as much as it is a vapor. Very much a neutral person to come and see what vaping's about, especially if you're a smoker. And we've always talked about appealing to that 99% rather than appealing to that 1% of, you know, people who are on Facebook, your 40,000 people who are active on Facebook, you know, your 99% consumer. Sounds like this is very attractive to them as well because of the different things there. So I'm pretty excited now he's come in and spoke to us.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Well, we've now we spoke about Manchester for 52 minutes. We'll carry on with last week's show. I do need to, by the end of the show, go on your Facebook and find if you've had a rant this week, just to make sure that I can post it. But yeah, I've got a few things that we didn't discuss last week because we had a reminiscent show. If you didn't see last week's show, go check it out. Find out how Paul was a fucker when he was younger. Check out last week's show after this one. It was very worth watching. It was a 3-hour show, which was mental. I actually really enjoyed it. It was fun. So we've obviously talked about the Manchester Vapers lifestyle event. I'm just going to go into sort of general vaping now and news we've sort of picked up on. And the first thing I want to go straight in for is Obama's daughter was caught vaping.
Oh, what?
Obama's daughter, his daughter was caught in America by a news network or whatever, or a paparazzi vaping. And her dad signed something about not wanting people to smoke, and she stood there tooting on this vape on this picture. Mint. What do you think of somebody of her stature and her father being snapped vaping? What do you think that effect has on people's mental thought about somebody like that? She's 18, she's legal, by the way. She's legal. She's not a kid, she's legal.
For me, it's good because America have had a rough ride, man. And they've literally gone, they're just trying to completely discredit the industry and completely fuck the industry up. So to get that little bit of exposure, for me, is fantastic. And yeah, no, it's good. It can only be good, mate.
When I saw it and I saw the news article, I was like, whoa, hold on a minute, what's going on here? And then I saw the picture. Because there wasn't a picture of her exhaling or anything like that. She was just holding the vape in it to her mouth. So obviously they didn't catch her while she was exhaling. But I thought, you know what? If she's blowing a cloud and sort of her dad sees this on paper, you know what I mean? It's going to be a bit like, you shit, why did you do this? But the exposure of her being Obama's daughter, which is one of, if not one of the most powerful people at his time, and his daughter's going into vaping, and the states and the government is absolutely just trying to destroy vaping, and for her to do it, he's very much sort of, Obama cannot come out and go, well, vaping is this and vaping is that, because guess what? Your kid's doing it down the street, mate, when she's out at a club. You know, they've got, it sort of like makes the government and the people in power sort of backpedal, because they can't turn around and state that his daughter's a dickhead for vaping or someone's a dickhead for vaping, because she got caught doing it. So I was like, that straight there is a win. That's a W all day long. He's right there. That's a W.
No, I mean, it can only be good. It can only be a good thing, mate. And I say,
America. Talking a bit more about the states. Trump has just signed off a 25% tax for anything vape-related imported to America. Did you know that?
Obviously, I've seen it on your notes last week, and that means that AV are going to get charged an extra 25% to get their mods back into the state. That's not limited to just AV. There's obviously lots of other companies sneaking shit into America from China and pretending it's American made. It is what it is, mate. It's
well, it's I know. I think we pay more. Do we not pay more as a country import tax?
oh, obviously, what we have to pay, you end up paying an import and the VAT.
Yeah, and they've got to pay. I think they pay the import, then they pay the VAT, and then they've got to pay the 25% on the actual e-cigarette product.
I don't think America have VAT, do they?
No, they don't. So they just must pay the import and then that import.
25% import or something.
Yeah. So they still don't pay as much as us, but now they've been stung with, obviously, in particular, being vape product. So all these parcels are going to be open. So fucking DHL are fucked over in America. UPS are fucked. They've got to open every single parcel to find out if it's vape related.
25% tax on vaping.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was across the board.
No, 25% increase on vaping products.
You're echoing bad as well.
Hold on. Let me. That's me. Better?
Yeah, that's better.
No, just on vaping products, on the import of vaping products. But I'm going to put a twist in it. I'm going to put a little bit of a twist in it. 25% import tax. What's the difference between an e-cigarette and a part? How can they distinguish between a part and an e-cigarette?
No, obviously, when you're importing millions of pounds worth of smock or Joy or Vaporesso or whatever bloody Chinese kit you're importing, they come in as a kit. The American market is big, it's massive, and it changes the way that them companies package their goods together. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. Sort of could then be like another loophole they can jump through to sort of not pay that tax. Not saying it's, this is what they should be doing to not pay that tax. That's obviously a tax that's coming on purpose. But I'm saying, is there now going to be some sort of loophole in the States to say, well, that's what we need to do to make sure it doesn't come in with the extra tax on? Because then the product prices then are going to go up in price. The retail price is then going to go up in price. So someone's got to either swallow or put this 25% on somewhere. And is this 25% going to be affected to the consumer, or is it going to be swallowed by your manufacturers and your retailers? And mate, I don't.
A retailer can't swallow 25%. If we got a 24% price increase tomorrow, we'd have to pass it on.
So it's going to have to be on the consumer.
I mean, if you look, every single mainstream Chinese manufacturer has completely adopted TPD because of the worth of the business in the countries that TPD applies to.
Definitely.
So they've designed TPD tanks. They've packaged TPD compliant, and actually they were probably a little bit late in the game doing that because I think they just thought, we'll just. The Chinese are a bit like, no problem, we'll just send it anyway, and you just sell it.
Okay.
And obviously, when all these big companies, we used to spend a huge amount of money with China Direct, and they're saying to me, what we'll do is we've got this tank, it's an 8 mil tank, we'll just send it, and then you put the TPD sticker on it. And I'm like, mate, don't be so stupid. So when I stopped ordering my gear off them and just trying to source locally, whatever was TPD compliant for the first few months when everyone found their feet, it didn't take long for them companies to message and say, we're just literally waiting for the glass for the TPD tank to come. It's been registered. It's going to be compliant and blah, blah, blah. Because actually the state pretty much says, yeah, fuck it. As much as they got hit by the bollocks, there was still people, and even now there's people launching new products in America that probably shouldn't be launching new products unless they've registered their numbers with the FDA. And I know there's lots of people done lots of registering, preempting new release products, but the reality is after whenever theirs was March before ours hitting, they shouldn't have launched new products. So
their grandfather date changed, didn't they?
Yeah.
They originally tried to set it in like 2014, and then literally like it wasn't even a thing. so they had to remove the grandfather day. But yeah, I still think that the control of it, not necessarily this tax increase or this tax being put on it, but I do think personally that the regulation side of it is good to a certain extent. There's stupid things in the regulations we all don't agree with whether it's TPD or FDA, we don't agree with. But in some sort of ways, this regulation is definitely a good thing, and I can definitely see that it.
Yeah, I mean, I say what only TPD was tanks is fucking ludicrous, because if you can have 10 million a bottle, why can't you have 10 million in your tank? It don't make any sense to me whatsoever. And the other thing was then was 10 mil bottle, because it's short fill has not only single-handedly fucked this industry up in the last 18 months, it's cost the government millions in registration. Because if they allowed 60 ml bottles that were 3 milligram, they'd have to be TPD compliant. You'd have to register them. Do you know what I mean? So actually any amendment on the legislation should be removal of bottle size. So then if you're selling 250 ml, it's still got to be TPD compliant. How many people are going to get fucked from that overnight? Now, the bottom line, I know with our short fill, we went short fill because we had to. Every them bottles can go to TPD tomorrow. It's not an issue. It's going to cost us some money because we're going to have to pay the registration on them. And because they're not existing as the Vape's flavour, they're not already registered, so we can't just become them. They're 12 brand new flavours. So they've got to be registered, they've got to be done, and all that bollocks. But there's lots of people home brewing or semi-home that would have to spend a fortune TPD in their short fill flavours.
Yeah, definitely. It's just definitely there's positives and negatives in it totally, you know what I mean? And we've gone over it and gone over it and gone over it, and I just think there's going to be a time where there's, as we've said before, that there's nothing really much we can do but comply.
No,
you know, that's a massive thing.
And we did. We had to.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a massive loophole.
I've also got another. I've got another news article as well, and it's basically there is a discussion. I don't know whether it's in the House of Commons or wherever it's being discussed at this moment in time, but they're discussing whether or not to put a sin tax on vaping.
So what's I've seen that obviously in your notes for the show, but what the fuck is
a sin tax? Is luxury item. So chocolate has a sin tax. Anything that's luxury has a sin tax on it, and they're trying to say that vaping is a luxury. So they're trying to discuss whether or not there should be a sin tax on vaping.
So is there a sin tax on smoking?
I don't know that as a fact. I can double check.
I just wondered. I mean,
no, I want to get this. I want to get this right.
But at the end of the day, mate, they will end up taxing this industry to the fucking similar situation to smokers. Whether that's in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. Once big tobacco have got this, let me just. What do I need to do if I'm echoing, Tom? Refresh or
just press your mute button and then take it off. It should literally do it if you take your mute button off. Press your mute button. Yeah, I can hear. Is that all right?
Yeah. I can still hear myself on you know.
Right, it might be me then. Hold on. Is that better?
Hello. So I could just hear myself coming back through my speakers when I'm talking on your computer. She might knock your volume down a touch. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this industry will get taxed, and I think it won't get taxed to the nth degree until big tobacco are in full control of it.
Is that better?
Yeah.
No, yeah, there's sin tax on alcohol, tobacco, chocolates. It's basically sugar. It's like on sugars. It's like the sugar tax, but it's basically on like smoking, alcohol, you know, luxury things, chocolate. So they're basically trying to say that we should be once again classed under as a luxury thing like tobacco. So the only way, sort of, rather than going is 20% tax because it's tobacco related product, is a sin fucking tax instead.
I mean, it's probably not unexpected.
Yeah, it is me echoing because I can fucking see my bars going up. Just seeing if it's my fan or not.
So,
Speak now.
hello. Yeah,
We're good that way.
I think so. I can still hear myself blatantly coming through you. And I sound proper brummy when I can hear myself, mate. You know what? I just think if it fits in line with alcohol and tobacco and all them things, then maybe it is a luxury item. It's certainly not a necessity to vape, as it's not a necessity to smoke, apart from the fact that they spent many years getting you addicted to cigarettes.
For me personally, I think we've discussed it before, and we've said if they tax it, That's with the fuck all we can do about it. Just tax it, get it over and fucking done with. But give us our fucking regs back. Take the regs away from TPD. Just fucking tax us. You know, if I know a lot of people, and I don't know whether you said this as well, Paul. If they'd just come in with a tax and gone, "Here's your tax. You pay your tax for it. We'll leave your regs alone. You do as you fucking please. You sell what you sell, and off you go." I think a lot of people would have stuck with that.
They'd have had no choice but to. I mean, for me, the part of the regs that should have been there is the testing. And it was something that I was, I mean, honestly, mate, when we started this business 6 years ago, whenever it was, I remember looking on the internet to see what regulations, or if I needed a license to sell this stuff, if I needed a certificate, and then I couldn't find fuck all. And obviously, you start getting into it and selling, and I'm asking other people, and turns out we ain't got no regulation. And I was like, what the fuck, man? And I remember saying to Tasha back then, if we get 12 or 18 months out of this, then it's not going to be long before some cunt comes in and says, right, you need to do this, 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 and this. As a business, we genuinely tried to self-regulate just by being morally right in what we were selling. So I sold UK liquids, and I sold American liquids, and I sold European liquids that I knew were coming out of clean rooms. I've never sold homebrew. I've never I've never sold Chinese juice just because I didn't know what it was. So I tried to self-regulate just so morally I felt that we were doing the right thing. So there is a need for regulation in this industry. They just fucking went about it all arse backwards and then left this gaping loophole for shortfill, which is just crazy.
There's always sort of been that gentleman's code in vaping. There's always been that gentleman's code. You know, you do it right, and you know that's the way it's meant to be. And you know, sort of going back to the originators, and I can definitely put you down as one of the originators. One of the very first shops in Birmingham. You know, very first people to do this on a larger scale. For me personally, there's always been us as a regular. You know, there's things there that morally we've said we need to regulate. And sort of gone off that as how we feel it should be regulated, and somebody basically came in and went, "We'll do it our fucking way."
Yeah, and even Dale, if you look at Dale, literally started making liquid for himself, and then it started selling on a friend level, then he started selling it on a commercial level. The first thing Dale done was put a clean room in his house to make sure that he was, and there weren't a requirement for a clean room. There still isn't in theory.
No. You technically don't. The thing is, you technically still don't need to make it in a clean room as long as you have a purpose-built clean room. You know, that's absolutely fine as long as you've not got dogs and cats running around your house and kids shitting on floor. You're absolutely fine, and it's not in the regs to do that. I think once again, it's come down to us as a standard to turn around and say, well, we want it done in clean rooms. We want to know it's clean. We want to know it's done properly, because we know. Before they said you had to test and everything like that, people wasn't testing because it's an expense that wasn't needed. You know, there was never no regs there to spend that much money on doing it. But now the regs are in there. Personally, I'm more than happy to spend a little bit more on juice that I know's being done in a clean room and is clean and tested than have somebody who's made it out of bath. And now I've got that feeling that this juice I'm now using morally is fucking clean, is the best it can be, and it's done the right way. There's still your own brewers out there, and there's always going to be your own brewers out there, but me personally, that regulation of having it tested and people using the gentleman code of using it in a clean, making it in a clean room is a massive improvement. Because we said before, fucking the government could come in any time and go, we want it done in an ISO 1.
Yeah.
You know, we're already on that ladder of we're actually doing it more. We're doing more than we should actually be doing.
Yeah.
Technically.
And I think
that's
the industry leaders in the UK have always done that. There's always going to be someone that wants to make some quick money and knock up some liquid in their fucking living room, and if they only get a few pubes in the bottle, they've done a good job, and sort of that sort of level of making liquid. And the reality is, mate, there's always going to be people that will buy liquid on that basis because it's cheap. I've seen someone earlier selling 360 mils with shots for a tenner. And
wow.
I'm just like, what the fuck, man? And they're still making money on that, Tom, but they're not making a lot of money. And I would hazard a guess that they've not invested a single pence in a stainless steel work surface to work on and stuff like that. But I might be completely wrong. I might be working out of an ISO fucking 6 lab or a 5. I don't know. But for me, the same as when I smoked cigarettes, I didn't smoke roll-ups. I smoked a decent cigarette. And when I buy red sauce, I buy fucking Heinz. And when I buy bread, I buy Warburtons, and when I buy butter, I buy Lurpak. And if I have cornflakes, they're only cornflakes if they're Kellogg's. If they're not, there's someone's cloned fucking horrible fucking cornflakes. So that's just me as a person. So I'd rather pay the same and know that what I've got is right. There's people out there that would vape dog piss if it was 3 milligram, and that's just the way it is. The same people would have took 6 nubs out of an ashtray and rolled the tobacco out into a Rizzler and built a cigarette. So I get that there's the people out there. There's a seat for every arse, as my dad used to say. And I just think from an industry point of view, liquid should be tested. I believe that it should be tested, and I believe that short fill should have to be TPD compliant. And the easiest way to do it, I mean, the trouble is that even if the only way to do it is by saying that 0 milligram combined juice has to be TPD compliant, because if they release the bottle size reg tomorrow and says, right, you can have unlimited size bottle, but you can't still exceed 20 milligram. Obviously, we can start selling 0, 3 and 6, 60 or 100 mil bottles like we used to, 50 and 100 mil bottles back in the day. How do you stop the short fill market? Because in theory, the Nick shot's TPD compliant and the 0 doesn't come under any.
Yeah, but it goes back to what we said about earlier about wastage and stuff. I think also e-liquid is at its cheapest cost ever. At this moment in time, e-liquid is the cheapest it's ever been. You know, we remember paying 18 quid for a 30 ml bottle. You know, we remember spending extreme amounts of money on premium liquid. So not the fact that it's cheap, it's also the fact that it's costing a lot more for manufacturers to make, because it's not one product, it works out as 4, as we've got examples with our 90 mils. So your 60 mil into 90 mil becomes 4 products. It's not 1, it's 4 products. So then there's 3 bottles you're emptying, you're wasting them, that's wastage. Then that becomes 1 main bottle. You know, we're then, as Emil said earlier about wastage and stuff like that, well, the fucking plants are now going to turn around and go, look at all these fucking empty bottles we're getting, because matter of people, three Nick shots, then 1,000 people have that, it's 3,000 bottles. You know, it's coming a lot more. So there's a lot more waste, but there's also a lot more money for the manufacturer to add on top of what the manufacturing cost is. You know, so it's not only the fact that we're losing money by selling cheap liquid, not cheap, but it's cheaper than it's ever been, and we're also adding on to it, so its manufacturing cost is a lot more.
The price of a Nick shot is more the bottling and the bottle than it is the fucking Nick shot that's in the bottle. And on that basis, we could do a 60 mil 3 milligram cheaper than what we could do a 50 in a Nick shot.
Exactly, because then it starts adding the prices up, and this is where if they turned down tomorrow and said, listen, as long as it's tested and you can test it with nicotine, because let's be realistic, everything's tested with nicotine, whether it's a 10 ml bottle. Yeah. 10 ml bottles are tested with mixed formulas with nicotine in it. Well, there's no difference to testing it in a fucking 100 ml bottle. There's no difference.
No, it doesn't matter whether it's tested 100ml bottle, 10ml bottle, 10 litres. The percentages are the same right the way through that mix.
Exactly.
People make a 10ml bottle, they're not individually making 10ml bottles, they're making 25 or 50 litre SKUs, and then they're decanting it via machinery back into 10ml, 50ml, wherever the bottle size is. So I think they just thought that they would force everyone to stock 10mls, and once everyone's stocking 10mls and everything that's been sold is registered, it becomes more controllable, more accountable, more taxable.
100%. 100%. Right, we're going to jump off that and we're going to go to the big one for the night. And we didn't touch on this last week. It's been a huge thing, and we've both discussed this off camera and whatnot and everything like that. But I want to sort of talk in depth of not just the situations that's going on currently, but the actual vape scene itself. I'm going to talk about America versus European. So we're talking both scenes. So we're talking TPD's been regulated throughout Europe. The Americans have obviously had their sort of their FDA warnings and whatever they need to do. And the scene. We're talking about the people inside the American scene. We're going to start off with the drama that's been going off in the scene at the minute in time. We're not going to name any names because that's not right of us to do that. Paul can do that if he wants. But to me personally, from what I've seen from our scene, and I'm going to start this off, our scene to the American scene, our scene from 3 years ago was well behind the Americans. To this day, we are in front of the Americans for the vaping scene. And I'll let you carry on.
You know what, boy, scene, are you talking about drama? Are you talking about just generally where it is? I think
everything about the both scenes. Like, you never see it, even though we're not involved in the German vape scene and stuff like that, but you don't hear about it like this is going on in Germany or this is going on in the UK.
I know for the fact that Germany is probably one of the strongest vape markets in Europe, and they're still selling 100ml short fills for 28, 29, 30 euros, and the price has held up there. And I think Germans generally would not be having an influx of short fill like we have from people that just started making liquid because there was a market. They are a bit more, no, we need to check these certifications and get the product. That was a really bad Dutch come Holland come German accent, but you get my gist. And I you know what, mate, I think, and I said it again this morning, I had this meeting with Jan, I just says, if I go back 3 years ago when we were making more money than what we make now by a long way, actually everyone was happier. Everyone was happy making money, and everyone worked together, and everyone seemed to help each other. And from 6 months prior to TPD, for me, I've only seen one little blip of light, and that was TPD was announced. Everyone panicked like motherfuckers. Everyone started undercutting people, backstabbing people, shitting on people. And then TPD regulation got submitted, and everyone read through it and went, you know what, actually, we've got a business here. We've still got a decent business. And it seemed like for about a week and a half, everyone started working together and being happy and whistling and, no, borrow some calls off me and I'll borrow this off you. And then, bam, back to cunts again. And I think, and I say back to cunts, it just seems that says, obviously, when 3 years ago, I probably knew 80% of the shop owners in the UK. And I dealt with them and I sold them stuff and I bought stuff off them and I couldn't just go to a wholesaler and pick up my liquid. So James might have a product that I wanted, so I'd speak to James and we'd buy it off him wholesale and we'd sell it. And now, distro makes the industry become a little bit disjointed just because the interaction for me personally is gone. Because if it's in the distro and I can buy it, I buy it and I put it in my shop. I haven't got to make. I mean, as it goes, the likes of say Market Ace of Vapes, regardless of whether he made our liquid or not, I still bought his product off him direct. And anything that I could buy direct, I've always bought direct, regardless of whether it was distributors or whether it wasn't. And then there's a lot of people that came into this industry that weren't vapors. So They just came in as business people, and they're probably more ruthless on the basis that they've come in to make money.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't sit right with me, not for any other reason, though. We just sort of all evolve together as people, as vapors, as an industry. And then all these outsiders start coming in and messing up the dynamics of what we do on a daily basis. And the reality is that is just life. It is how it is. So, and then I look at America and I see some of these big players and fuck it at war, mate. And it's like, and that can only be a money thing.
Yeah.
It can only be a money thing, or you just say, you know what, fuck you, I'm moving on. I'll do my own thing. I'll row my own boat. Stick your shit up your ass. I'm out of here. But money talks out there, and I know that Leon went public and says that his lawsuit with AV cost him $250,000. And to be fair, Leon's gone public and says, for the information that Lindsay had, I understand why she sued me the way she did. And that lawsuit got dropped. He's still £250,000 into solicitors' fees, mate, before that lawsuit ever went through. And it's just a bit like, what the fucking hell's going on?
I'm telling you.
A friend of mine was the person that started I Love VG, and a good friend of mine, and became probably a multi-million-pound company in a very short space of time. And for one reason or another, he's no longer part of that business, and he's trying to relaunch a new range of his own. And one of them was called Strawberry Millions, and he gets a fucking letter off the company that he's now no longer part of, suing him for copyright infringement under the Trademark Act. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on, man? I know you personally have always moaned about IP theft. It's one of the things that you always go, fuck, you know. Have you seen what they've put on this bottle? And I'm a bit like, it's the least. I said it the other day in that group chat that we're in. It's the least of this industry's problems is IP theft, man.
Yeah.
I don't stock anything like that in my shop. I think anyone that's got anything about them wouldn't stock anything about it. The people that are purely to make money don't give a fuck what's on the bottle. If it sells, they'll stock it and they'll sell it. And that's where some of the disjointedness starts, because actually back in the day, 20 people could have said, I ain't stocking that. And the other 70% of the remainder would have said, no, I'm not going to stock it either. I'm not going to go against the grain. Now everyone's going, I don't give a fuck whether they don't stock it. I'm stocking it because my customers want it. And if I haven't got it, they're going to buy it off the man down the road. And if they're buying that off him, they're not going to come to me for their coil. And so it becomes back to this money thing about how much does the shop take every day? Can I afford to lose a customer? At the end of the day, I don't want to lose a customer any day of the week. It's true that we've worked damn hard to keep our customer base, and we continue to do that every day. However, I'm not selling my soul to the devil. So on that basis, if I can't stock something because morally it don't sit right with me, I ain't stocking it. I don't care whether we could sell 1,000 bottles a week or 2 bottles a week. That's just me. That's just how I am. But there's people out there that don't give a shit, and they'll stock whatever they like because the margins are good on it and because they can sell it cheaper than the man down the road and build his business up and make some money. It's just the way of the world.
It's going back to sort of the IP theft thing and stuff, and I'm a proper stickler for it. I like, you know what I'm like. I'm very much sort of, I don't like it at all. It fucking annoys me. And it's not the fact is that it's just. And it goes back to what you said about being morally right and doing shit that you're supposed to do. And you know what I mean? It's, you know, you wouldn't sell it because it's not morally right for you to sit in your shop. And that goes exactly the same with me. If you've got an individual idea and you sit there and you can think of this idea and go over it and think of the juices that you're going to manufacture exactly the same way you did AF. You know what I mean? You thought of the flavors and you thought of all the branding. You thought, that's what I wanted. That's how I want it. And it's took a lot to design that. For me, somebody come along and go, I'm having that logo there, you know, somebody's already fucking created. It just grinds my fucking gears because it's not the fact is that it's IP theft. It also makes our industry look cheap and tacky.
Absolutely. That's what I seen someone yesterday, mate, they're launching a new juice. And actually, I looked at the branding and I was like, why? Why have you chose that logo? Why have you chose that font? Why does it look like someone else's logo and font? Why not just do your own thing?
That's it. You've got so much you can do in this industry and be individual and show your individual talents. You know, let's be realistic. It is expensive to get into this industry. It's not cheap. You know, with the way the industry is, you've got to be able to invest. And to think that you can go out and go steal a logo and not actually put the time and effort into the money you're actually laying out is fucking ridiculous. It's mad. It's crazy. It just baffles me. But back to the American scene, and we can talk about the blacklist. The blacklist. Have we ever spoke about the blacklist before?
Not on the show. Me and you spoke.
We spoke about the blacklist, and I don't know if a lot of people know this. There is a thing called the blacklist in America, and it's a lot of people do actually stand by the blacklist, and it probably Paul should start a blacklist if I'm honest. We'll get the blacklist running next week, Paul. For next week's show, we'll set the blacklist.
I would never start a blacklist because I just think if that's what people have got to do to try and make some money, and if there's people out there scruple enough to buy it because it's cheap and sell it on cheaper, then I can't dictate to people how they're going to run their business. It's none of my business. I just know that genuinely I try and do what I think is morally right, and hence the ICOS. We got offered a lot of money, mate, to put screens in both of our shop windows, and we get fantastic more margin selling an ICOS in our shop than I make on it, including Endless. So I get a higher margin selling an ICOS than I get selling an Endless product that we manufacture. And on top of that, they'll give my staff cash incentives to sell them products. So I get my margin. They still give some more of that they get back to my employees. Anyone that's got ICOS in the shop, it is in their interest to sell as much as they fucking can.
Damn right. And that's exactly what your staff's going to do. The company's going to concentrate.
When at the moment, I've got people coming in more shops and I've tried vaping and I've failed. And right, what did you start vaping on? How many cigarettes did you have? Oh, I started on a Suburban Kick. Why? But that's what the man in that shop says. Listen, mate, go back to basics. Spend 20 quid on a mouth. Try again. See how you go. If I had an ICOS at bloody 90 quid or 100 quid or whatever they are, and I'm going to make 70 quid on that sale personally, and my staff are going to make something on it, and I'm getting paid to have this screen in my window advertising their product, I'm going to say, if you've already failed at vaping once, mate, what you want is an ICOS.
Yeah.
Closest thing you can get to a cigarette as you can without it being a cigarette. I'm not about. I'm going to do that, mate. I'll open a shop next to my vaping shop, and I'll open a general store, and I'll sell ICOS, and I'll sell fags, and I'll sell vaping stuff, and I'll sell fucking mobile phone cases and mobile phone chargers, and fill it with everything that I think is going to sell. Now, touch wood, maybe we're lucky we're in a position we haven't had to do that with our shop. We're a vaping shop. We sell vaping products. I don't know. It just don't sit right with me. And
just with the ICOS thing, and obviously we know people who do stock them and stuff. But so somebody who worked in a vape shop and they have ICOS in there is no other incentive to sell anything but ICOS. So you're gonna fuck everything else off that's on the shelf and sell ICOS. That's all you're gonna do is just sell. You might as well spin everything you've got on your shelf and just as you say, have ICOS. Because your incentive as a staff member is just to sell ICOS, because you get more money for doing this, you get this for doing this, and you know that the incentive thing from a business aspect from them ICOS themselves is fucking amazing. That is brilliant for what they do as a marketing scheme. I'm not saying the product is right. I'm not saying it should be inside vaping. I'm saying as a business, their marketing scheme is fucking brilliant. Yet it's the best way and the most easiest way to destroy vaping as it is now. You get that into the many shops as you can and you give them incentives out, nobody has a point in selling vaping.
The bottom line is, if I was a multi-billionaire and every day I was set forward to, it's a bit like the fucking the Pablo Escobar thing where that geezer could burn $8 million to keep him and his kid warm, and he made more than $8 million while that $8 million was burning, and big tobacco in that luxury. And if I was in that luxury where I could say, right, 90 mil AF aren't 17 quid with the shots, they're now a tenner. And I'll sell it to you for £4 a bottle. It's costing me £3.99 to make. I'll make a penny a bottle on it. And then you sell it for a tenner. So you're making 150% margin. And then out of that margin, you've got to give 25% to your employer. There's not a shop in this country that wouldn't take my liquid.
Damn right. Fucking everyone would take it.
And on that basis, it's just like, that's exactly what Oikos are doing. They're probably not making anything at all. Though, you know what? And I'll be brutally honest, right? They've developed a good product, and it works for the people that cannot. There's people that can't vape because they're PG intolerant or they're VG intolerant. There's a place for that product. There's just not a place for that product in a vape shop, in my opinion. That's my issue. Nothing else. And if I would rather say to one of my customers who's tried vaping on 6 different mouth to lung kits, on kits that I know work and that they're reliable and they should stop someone from smoking, I'd rather say to them, listen, mate, go up to Tesco, go to the cigarette counter, ask them for an Oikos. They're not cheap, but they're better than smoking, but it's not as healthy as vaping.
Yeah.
Try that and see how you get on with that. I'd rather send them somewhere to buy that product than I would say, oh, as a last resort, mate, I've got this. Because the trouble is, I don't believe any vape shop that stocks it will only sell it as a last resort, because they'll start to see the revenue stream coming from it.
100%. But going back to sort of the American and European, I don't know whether this is because we're blind to it or whatever, but you don't massively see it in the US. I've never even seen somebody in the US complain about it. You know, I've never heard it sort of, even though Marlboro is predominantly all the factories are in America, I've never heard anybody say IQOS in America. I don't even know if it's stocked in America, whether it's sold. It will be sold in America, but I've never heard anybody in the vape industry talk about an IQOS.
I'd never heard of an IQOS until wankers in this industry started smashing them with hammers and advertising them all around the country, mate. No, mate, I'm being absolutely serious. I heard about IQOS through people sharing posts about IQOS saying boycott IQOS.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? You've just given, that's just been seen by 10,000 people. You've just done everything you can to promote the product.
Yeah, they've done the total opposite. Rather than actually slagging it, you give them free fucking marketing. That 35 million they've expected to lose in marketing, you've actually gained them some marketing for fuck all.
So, I mean, if someone came into my shop who has tried genuinely what I believe are the right products to stop smoking, the right liquids, the right strengths, they can't get on with it, I'd have no qualms recommending an IQOS to someone. But I'd have to tell them, you need to go and find out who sells them, because we don't, and we never will. And if Blue's margin of hardware was more reasonable, I'd stock Blue's products tomorrow, because actually, like I said to you, it's a very similar system to this. It vapes exceptionally well. The battery's good and it works well. I haven't got an issue. That's all. We're stocking it. It's a vaping product.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who's doing it. I've got the same issues with vape shops stocking CBD flavours. I don't understand it. Now, actually, it was a nice breath of fresh air to see. There's some advertising from Mr. Daniel Littleworth there. He's the CBD.buzz website they've set up. He's purely selling CBD products. And that's, for me, where it fits. He's in a different market. We sell Yorkshire Vapor CBD liquid. And I sell that 100% because Dale's a friend. I can go and buy CBD cheaper than Dale's, resell it cheaper than Dale's from the wholesalers, put it in my shelf. We haven't got a massive call for it, but as a business, we don't push it.
Yeah.
I could get CBD flavours tomorrow and put them on the shelves. I could get CBD jelly babies, put them in the shelves. I could get CBD dog biscuits. Whoever's dog needs CBD to be calm needs to have the dog put down, in my opinion. I could put it all in the vape shop. Then I might as well just put the IQOS in there and sell cigarettes and sell tobacco and sell rolling papers and sell bongs and fucking just sell the lot and just become a paraphernalia shop for anything you fucking like. It's nice to see that Daniel split it away from the vaping side of things and done something completely for CBD, and that's how it should be. That said, I've seen lots of vape shops stocking CBD flowers, and it makes me cringe. It just makes me think, how bad is that business doing? Because if if I was going to do CBD tomorrow, mate, I'd gladly open a shop next door to my other shop. Or, I mean, in Yardley, we could literally open a shop upstairs. So when you walk into the vape shop, it's a vape shop. If you want CBD products, you go upstairs and you sell the CBD products up there through a different tool system. It's a different company. It's a different business. They've got everything you want upstairs.
Yeah.
And put staff in there to manage that side of the business, working for that company. I could open a shop next door to Dudley, but one shop away because there's one vacant, and open a CBD shop. I'd need new staff. I'd need new insurance. I'd need new fucking rents, new rates, etc. But if that's what you want to do, then that's what you should be doing, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. There's people out there that
I agree with that 100%, 110%. I agree with that, and we said it before that it doesn't belong in the vaping side of things, and it once again goes back to the European versus US. CBD is fucking huge in America, absolutely massive. It's cannabis is legalized in, I think it's about 12 to 13 states now.
Yeah.
You know, it's huge over there, but you never ever see it entwined with vaping. Never. And once again, is it maybe it's because we're blinded to it or whatever, we don't see it, or people who we know don't post it, but we never see it entwined with vaping. Maybe because, you know, there is the shops out there that do sell the cannabis, that's legal cannabis, obviously for medicinal use, but we never see it entwined. And whether that's, have they got the mind screwed on to say, well, it's not anything to do with our industry, and are we over here basically going, fuck it, let's cash cow it? You know, it seems like there's two very separate mindsets in the same industry.
You know what I think it's like Adam Harper, who owns Complife, also owns a massive adult sex toy shop or business. Or actually, it's run as that business. So Adam Harper isn't posting pictures of rubber cocks on Complife's page, and he's not posting pictures of titanium spectrums on his rubber cock page, because businesses are quite apart. And 6 months ago, I had a dinner with a very good friend of mine, and we spoke about opening CBD shops. And my only concern is, because of my presence in this industry, for me to split that completely down the middle and say, look, this is one business that I've got, this is another business that I've got, it becomes difficult. And people would always say, oh, fucking hell, is it Paul from Endless Mods who's vaping, selling fucking CBD flowers? But actually, I would never, ever sell it through any of the pages associated with my vaping. The same, I wouldn't push. Unless we were selling CBD liquid through that new business, that's the only time I'd ever push a vape pen. And it'd be pushed through their website, not through, oh yeah, if you want a vape pen to use the liquid you sell in that business, you need to go to Shady Vaping. I'd make sure there was product stocked on that website to manage that product. Yeah. And it would be that product, and I'd look for a whole new audience of people. It just seems to me that the people that have gone into CBD in the UK just use their personal profile probably more than any of the youngsters to push whatever their latest product is. So 1 minute someone's promoting their new mod, the next minute they're promoting the CBD, the liquid, the oil, the flowers. Now, they're not necessarily crossing over, but just by default they're crossing over as them as a person.
Yeah.
I'd rather start a CBD page, CBD Instagram, CBD fucking Snapchat, CBD social media platform, and build my audience up so the people that are following that are CBD users. The same as I don't go on to weed fucking smoking groups and push my vaping stuff to them because they're not interested.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I get that there's a business platform for every, like I said about earlier, there's an arse for every seat. And if that means that we diversified our business into a brand new business venture, I haven't got an issue with me doing that. I've got an issue with me then trying to push it out across my existing platforms to try and capture them people.
Yeah.
Because
you're basically using the sort of the clout you've already got to the people.
Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, if I started a CBD business tomorrow, I would obviously share it on my own personal page, because there's 3,000 people on there. There's going to be some CBD users. Then ultimately, it's about finding your audience, capturing your audience, and selling them a product that they want. And I think that's
being lazy. Is it businessly being lazy?
Social media, I think, has made lots of business people lazy. And actually, when we first started this business, we were gifted with Facebook that was a much, much, much easier platform to use for business than it is today.
Yes.
Because it had much bigger reach. It went out to every single person that liked our page, and that grew exponentially week on week on week on week for a long, long time. Because of that, people think now they can start a Facebook page, do a like and share competition, they're going to get 30,000 followers and start turning over £24,000 a week. And the reality is, business just isn't that simple anymore.
It's just crazy from the evolution of sort of, because I honestly think that the European market is definitely better than the US market right now, whether it's, you know, mods, e-liquids. I do honestly think from when we sort of saw the Americans coming over and bringing their liquids over, like Cosmic Fog and Cutwood and stuff like that, we were all very much like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? They brought them out in glass bottles and they were all sort of fancy dancy. They looked perfect on the shelf. Yeah, with pipettes, and they looked perfect on the shelf and everything like that. And just everything about them amazed us because it was something new, something different. And I think now I don't know whether it's down to what they've done through the FDA, but it seems like our industry has gone, you know what I mean? We've sort of not left them behind, but we've advanced as an industry, I would say, as, you know, independent, not necessarily maybe independent businesses and stuff like that. You know, they have a lot of independence.
I just think that because the UK is so small, and because by and large we personally know most of the main people that are involved in the industry, we see what's going on. But you look at even a mediocre vape store in America from a company you've never heard of, and they're probably carrying 300 or 400 different juice lines. There's probably juice lines in America that sell more, just some little one man on his ones. He's probably selling more liquid in America than Ace of Vapes, who are probably one of the big, or Prohibition, who are one of the or Juice Source, the big manufacturers in the UK that are multi-branding and white labeling for people. There's probably companies out there, mate, doing triple their turnover, and it's still considered small scale because the size of America. So I don't really look at America and think they're not doing as well as us. I actually think that the UK is so close knit, and actually we work hard daily to keep pushing it forward. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, because I can imagine they push sort of maybe state by state. You've got to push by the country. I can imagine that's the thing. You know, I think a lot of people don't realise we are small island people. You know what I mean? We are very small island people, and we are one of the most powerful countries in the world for the size we are, and the sort of resources and people we've got here and everything like that. It's, you know, we've got plenty to grow with this industry over here. I honestly do think we're still not even at a peak.
You know, I just think it needs to calm down a little bit and then sort of start being restructured in some way, shape, or form. And I know the trouble is that when the likes of the big distro companies start offering 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, I've known £150,000, I've known £250,000 deals go through for liquids to be taken by distro. Now, for a company to take £250,000 off one single company for a distro order, even if they're giving them a fucking rock bottom price, they're still making a great margin by the standards of normal standard manufacturing margins, which are normally somewhere between 5 and 10%. Now, even in this market where you could put in £100,000 order, they're still making a good margin. So to put that £250,000 order or £100,000 order or £150,000 order, it takes a big set of bollocks to say, nope, I don't want it. I'm just going to do my own thing. I don't want the distro to ruin my brand. And when you can get that one distro to take it, the chances are you can probably get 3 or 4 to take it. So then you could be into 300, 400, 500, 600,000 pounds worth of orders. Now, the trouble is when you flood the market with that much product, the second it stops selling, the distro will discount it and shift it on. The second they do that, they've just ruined your brand. Now, one of the things that I was adamant with Market Ace of Vapes was, I do not want to distro that product because I believe it's got legs. I believe we can create a brand that's got some longevity. I believe that we can introduce flavors when it's needed to keep the brand fresh and alive. I believe that the overall branding of that product is something that remains fresh forever and a day because we can make it fresh, and we're not exhausting just one line of liquid with 60 flavors. Every time we bring something out, it'd be a brand new 4 range, 4 fresh flavors. And all of the ranges I've done, I've tried to be, they're a range within an overall brand. So there's 4 fizzy flavors, there's 4 creamy flavors, there's 4 fruity flavors. The next one that drops will be 4. The only one that will probably be more than 4 will be the 10 ml bottles. So if we do the 6, 12, and 18, and we do a Nick salt range, obviously we'll have more than 4 flavors in there. But I didn't want it to go to distro to just get crucified. And because the liquid market is so vastly flooded at this minute in time, you've got to have something absolutely special for that not to happen. But money talks, mate. And at the end of the day, if me and Tash decided as a couple that, you know what, let's dip out of this industry, I don't know, bloody Philip Morris comes and offers me X amount of £100 for my business, and I decide to take it. And as a parting gift, I can flood the industry with £500,000 worth of distro orders. I would. And that'd be me. Bam, I'm out of here. See you later. Sell it for £1 if you like. I don't give a fuck. I'm off. But that's not what I'm here for, and it's not what the liquid range was about. And if it was, we could have made liquid 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I made it when it was the right time for us to make it. I made it in probably the most difficult time we ever could. And I put a lot of money into it, and then we dropped the 90 mils and put another fucking big chunk of money into the 90 mils. And I've done that because I stand by what I'm doing, and I believe in that product, and I believe in the range, and I believe that we're doing it right. And the customers that are reordering are happy that they have got an exclusive on it, and they're not just, their pal isn't just able to pick it up from the fucking distro down the road. It's a weird one, mate, because some people are here purely for money.
It'd be nice to sort of take it back to that, you know, the origins of it. You know, and everybody sort of have that mindset. But as you said, there's new people fresh to this industry, and they're like, let's fucking milk this cow for all we can.
Sorry, man.
And is that going to be the downfall to the industry, though?
What? Sorry.
Just people coming in and just cash cowing?
You know what? I think I'm hopeful that the consumer starts to understand that there's something behind this more than just getting a cheap bottle of liquid. And actually, when we start getting taxed, like at the moment, there's people selling 50 ml short fills for fucking on UK vape deals, 50 ml short fills for £3.90 posted. It cost me £4.40 to post a fucking 50 ml bottle. So I'm a bit like, what the fuck's going on? And people are snapping that up, and they're loving it. And when we get taxed properly on these products, when regulation hits in properly, and the price of a fucking 50 or a 60 ml goes up to £20 or £25, everyone that's supporting that underhand part of the industry at this minute in time will be the ones moaning. Now, for me, I will pay whatever I've got to pay to vape a juice that I enjoy. And if my 10 ml bottle of liquid that I vape every day goes up to £6 for a bottle, I'd still buy it for £6 because it's still cheaper than me spending £20 a day on 60 fags, which is what I was spending 6 years ago. Now it'd cost me £30 a day to buy 60 fags, or £33. I don't even know how much a pack of fucking Benson are these days. £12, £11, £13. I ain't got a fucking clue. So for me, I will always convert my figures back to what I used to spend on cigarettes and what that equivalent would cost me today. Now, the reality is, mate, I've vaped for 6 years. If I was to start smoking exclusively tomorrow, I'd probably smoke more than 60 fags a day because I've got this fucking thing in my hand every minute of the bastard day, and I'm chonging on it constantly, non-stop. So I think the old school vapor that genuinely started this journey to smoke, to not smoke, are the ones that have supported it the best. 2 years ago, we introduced a whole heap of people into this industry that still smoked right from the get-go, but they blew clouds on 0 milligram and all that sort of stuff. And they're the people that are chasing this bargain because actually they're still buying their cigarettes vaping is an added expense to them. So if they can get 100 ml of liquid for 10 quid, they're going to buy it because they're only chonging on it to blow a fucking cloud to impress their pal. The people that are still buying the product because they don't want to buy cigarettes still buy decent liquid from a decent supplier, and they use decent equipment to vape on, and they change their coils regular, and they're not moaning about a schmuck coil only lasting 2 days, bro, and all that stuff, because there's still a natural conversion from what my cigarettes used to cost me and what I'm spending to this day. And unless you were an out-and-out dickhead like I was 2 years ago, it's still cheaper by a long, long way to vape than it is smoking. And
That's why
the only people that say it isn't is the people that were buying 6 mech mods a week at 200 quid a mod, or 300 quid a mod, or in my case, some of them 12,000
£1,000 a mod.
Exactly. And even then, mate, even when I was spending that money on what I wanted to spend my money on, I still always said that is satisfying the hobby thing in me. That is the equivalent of me buying a £50 remote control car from Toys R Us, and within 3 months, because I'm the sort of person that I am, I'd have a £3,000 remote control car, because that is me. That's I just don't do nothing by half. So when I started vaping and I started the high-end game, I'll go high-end properly. If I'm going to do it, I'm doing it right. And actually, when I decided I didn't want to do it no more, I've used Endless ever since. It's the only mech mod I've ever used in the last 18 months or so. And that's because I was genuinely happy with my own product. And when I first launched the product, and we were finding our way with the RDAs and the decks and all of that sort of stuff, there was decks and RDAs I preferred out there. Now, I'm quite happy with the V2S deck. I don't mind which of my caps I've got on top of that RDA, whichever one looks nicest on my mod. I don't mind which mod I'm using, whether it's a cleaner, or a dirty. I'm not asked. They all do a job for me.
Yeah.
But I say hobbyist is.
I've just never sort of got the logic of somebody sort of paying £4.50 for 10 mil, for 100 mil. I've just never got, whether it's because we're the old school and we've paid that expensive price. You know, we're used to paying 17 quid for 30 mil. And when there's a 100 mil bottle for 17 quid, we're like, yeah, whatever, it's fucking no to what we used to pay. Is it because the people out there that they never smoke proper fags? Did they always buy fucking knockoff tobacco, or did they ever buy fucking knockoff cigs from mum and dad's street?
That's what I was trying to say earlier, is that there's always going to be a market for
shit.
There's always going to be a market for people looking for the cheapest product, always. Which is why if you go into Asda, they've got Heinz ketchup, they've got Daddy's ketchup, and they've got Asda's own brand, which is a luxury one, and they've got Smart Price or whatever it is. So they're offering 4 different red sauces. And the reason why they do that is because there's 4 different people go in that store with 4 different mentalities and 4 different mindsets about what a bottle of red sauce is worth to them within their shopping budget. So I fully get that is always going to be the case. I personally would not take a punt on a bottle of 100 ml liquid for 5 quid with 2 nick shots. I've been offered 100 ml bottles from Manchester Distros for £1 fucking 20 with 2 nick shots. This time last year, mate, I was paying £2.25 for 2 nick shots.
Isn't it?
That's what I was buying them for as a wholesaler to then sell on to my customers at 2 quid. And I can get 120 ml of liquid. I've just got to stick me 2 shots and I can buy it for £1.20. So I sell that for £3.60 and I've got a 200% margin.
But in your mind, like as a consumer or somebody who's like, we've got this in our mindset, but somebody else who doesn't have this mindset, all I can think about is, what the fuck is in it? What am I ingesting into my body that's costing me £1.20 for 100 mil? You know, that logic is like, all right, there's a fiver here. I can get an 100 ml bottle with 2 nick shots. What am I putting into my system? I'm worrying about fucking paying 17 quid for 100 mil, and I know it's fucking clean. Well, I'm paying £5. What am I actually putting into my system? I just, logically in my mind, I can't turn around and go, I would be happy to pay a £5 for a bottle of liquid, not knowing what the fuck is in it.
Yeah, and I used to sell knockoff fags back in the day. And actually, I didn't smoke them myself because they were fucking shocking. I'm not even lying, mate. I didn't, but I made enough money off them to put some money in the bank and buy myself some decent fags. I used to sell snoid Nike trainers back in the day, and I used the money off that to buy myself proper Nike trainers from JD. But the people that bought them off me loved them. So I get that there's all different people out there in all different markets, and but I would not personally vape a £5 bottle of 100ml liquid.
It's not. I think for me personally, with like a pair of trainers, it's just fashion. It's just fashion. That's all it is. When you're actually ingesting something into your system, putting it into your lungs, there's got to be that mindset there. I can't do that.
No, I used to sell cigarettes. Like back in the day, I used to go to France, so I was buying proper cigarettes and selling them on cheap. In fact, I used to sell to a shop. So twice a week, I used to go to France, and twice a week, he used to buy everything I got off him. And every week, we were doing 1,200, 1,400 quid a week in profit after I'd been over there. Fantastic business. Illegal to fuck, but fantastic all the time. And then when that became more and more pain in the arse to do, another friend of mine said, I can get your fags, mate, cheap, 20 quid a sleeve or whatever. We used to sell them for 40 quid a sleeve, so 4 quid a packet. Or I might have even bought them 15, sold them for 30. I can't remember. I used to have to buy a lot of them, and I remember, and I used to smoke them for a bit because they weren't too bad. And I remember lighting one up one day, and the flame, literally, as soon as I lit it, the flame, like if you light a cigarette and you sort of double puff it and the fucking flame flicks on the lighter, the flame was bright yellow. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I took the drag, mate, and it was like I'd ingested some chemicals. I'm not exaggerating, like to the point where I felt like I couldn't breathe. And the end of this fag was burning yellow. And I took another drag in case it was just a funky bit at the start and nearly killed myself twice. And I was like, what the fuck? And I put the fucking thing out. And then I was like, I don't mind selling them. I don't mind if I'm killing someone, but I'm not smoking that shit myself. But then not long after that, I genuinely stopped selling because I was a bit like, I didn't know where these fags were even being made. I didn't know. They clearly weren't like, when I was going to France, I was buying Embassy #1, Benson and Edges, Embassy Filter, whatever cigarettes he wanted to put. He used to sell them under the counter at the off license. So he had all different fags off me. They were proper cigarettes. They were the same cigarettes I was buying in our country for fucking 3 times the price.
Yeah.
When I started selling these things, I was like, I don't even know. It's like the same thing as some of these home brewers. What the fuck is in them cigarettes? What are they mixing with this tobacco? And the tobacco on its own is bad enough. When it's got some bit of shit thrown in there to make your flame burn yellow, it's shocking. And I was like, what the fuck, man? But I still sold them for months after that. I sold thousands and thousands of sleeves of these things. And that, so even some people would come back to me next week and go, fucking hell, mate, they're ropey as fuck. Can I have another 600? Honestly. And I'd be like, yeah, mate, knock your fucking self out. And some people are saying to me, fucking hell, I'm having to buy like 60 normal fags. And then every third one of these, I'm smoking a decent fag, man, just to give my fucking chest a bit of a break and that. And I was like, fucking hell, what the fuck? But they still bought them because they were cheap, and that applies to liquid, it applies to hardware, it applies to everything, mate. People will just buy what they can afford to buy, and if it tastes like shit and they're vaping, it's better than smoking. And for me, if you're spending 5 quid on 100ml of liquid, and it works for you, and it's not a bad flavour, and you know that even if it's your pal that's making it, but you know he's taking his care and his time, and you're not smoking cigarettes, you still got to be better than smoking cigarettes. It will cripple this industry, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're up to 10 o'clock. I'm going to end the show. I'm going to end it with one of your rants or sayings. It's literally just one you put up about 3 hours ago. Hilarious. So we'll go into this and we'll have a look. Someone's also tagged you in this coffee, so I'm losing it. I think they've tagged you in Paul Harrison. Right. So Paul said, I don't really know much about the cactus plants, but I know a prick when I see one. So that's this week's show. I want to thank Emil for coming on, even though he was a million times late and it was an arse-ache to get him in. But obviously, we've got a little bit about the Manchester show beginning of the show. As I said last week, if you want to go watch the Reminiscent show, episode 24, we find out why Paul was a bad un. We also find out why Chris JB was a bad un, and I sat there as quiet as I could.
I preferred my other quote, actually.
Which, right, hold on. Are we talking about the don't give it the big un?
No, down two from that.
Reptile.
Yeah.
I'm no reptile keeper, but I know a fucking snake when I see one. Well, that's us for this week. As I say, join us next week. We have more Paul's quotes. We'll make sure someone fucks him up.
I'm not a gynecologist, but I never fucking come when I see one.
So we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thank you, everybody who stayed in chat. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.
See you later, everyone.